Hello, romance readers. Welcome to Illicit Liaisons with Tender and Tempting Tales, where each week we talk about the good, the bad, and the naughty of romance fiction. I am Jenna Harte. I'm a romance author of the Southern Heat Contemporary Romance series and the Sexy Valentine Mystery series, as well as the managing editor of Tender and Tempting Tales, a steamy romance anthology for readers who like quickies.
Hi, I'm Tara Leederman, social media manager here at Tender and Tempting Tales, and lore maven and main fiction writer for Starship Valkyrie, a science fiction game and story universe. And I write science fiction stories, including romance, and you can find me in our anthologies and on Substack.
And today we're very excited because our guest host is Sierra Hill. Sierra Hill is a RONE Award-winning author of Game Changer and an award-winning college sports series, Courting Love. She writes steamy new adult and sports romances, including the Vancouver Vikings hockey series, the Puget Sound Pilots, and Clearview Falls University football series with her co-writing partner, S.E. Rose. She also writes award-winning LGBTQ plus romance under the pen name Kassidy. Sierra lives in the Pacific Northwest with her husband of 30 plus years and her rescue dog. In her free time, she enjoys crafting, teaching senior fitness class at the local senior center, and fostering as many dogs as she possibly can. You can find links to Sierra's website and social media, as well as any other books and resources we cover on the show in our show notes, but it is sierrahillbooks.com. If you want to click it and go. And thank you so much for being with us, Sierra. So
Well,
excited.
thank you. I'm so glad to be here, Jenna and Tara. And my bio makes me sound really old.
Like 30 plus years,
Woo!
like romance is very nice.
I must have gotten married when I was, I don't know, like 10.
And
Well,
Just kidding, no.
you look amazing.
now, Sierra, normally Tara and I like to talk about bookish news and drama and hot takes that we come across. Luckily, you actually supplied us with one we hadn't heard of, which was a book box subscription service company, Ivory Chapters, which is filing an application with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to register the term blind date with a book. Now, this is used by everybody who does blind date with a book.
Yes, it does.
And just curious, like, is this even possible? Like, what are your thoughts?
Oh gosh. Well, first let me say I am not a trademark expert at all. I'm not a legal expert, but this came to me via a friend on Facebook, of course. Where else would I find it? And I followed up with a few questions of my own with her, and she said she had filed a complaint or registered a complaint with the USPTO, the US whatever it is.
Mark office.
That would be it. So apparently, this Ivory Chapters LLC, which is a book subscription service, filed an application to trademark the common phrase that we all hear, blind date with a book. And then immediately faced backlash from, of course, the bookish community because it sparked controversy with, authors such as us, booksellers, indie bookstores, libraries even, and readers, because we all use this common phrase everywhere these days. You go to a book event, you have a bunch of blind dates with a book, and it's exciting and fun. And this person wanted to trademark that phrase. So I did some research because, again, I'm not an expert on it. And typically, we've all seen trademark products and terms that are specific to brands. Like, I think of toothpaste, and you have the Colgate and the Crest brands, and then you have soda companies, Coca-Cola. Well, those are all trademarked. But the words and terms toothpaste and soda, on the other hand, are not and can't
Yes.
be trademark because it's a widely used descriptive term. So the same would hold true for blind date with a book.
Okay.
And so anyhow, there was this attempt to monopolize this widely used descriptive term. And I guess this came about several weeks back, like mid-April. And for those of us who have been around for a while, we remember the hashtag Cockygate. Do you guys remember
Oh,
that?
the
Speaking
cocky
of that,
cake. Yes.
Tara, I was like, remember when someone tried to trademark? Yes.
Trademark cocky in
Cocky.
certain fonts. Oh, so cute.
Uh-huh. So what was interesting, and I had to look back on this because it goes way back in the biz, you know what I mean? And this author, Felina Hopkins, did manage, I don't know how she did it, but she managed at the time to trademark the word cocky because she indicated that her book titles, her brand, everything was cocky. So
in certain
go ahead.
fonts, it was a word mark. It was a word mark.
Oh,
It was
yes.
not the word cocky. It was cocky in certain fonts.
Fonts.
Yes,
Perfect.
yes.
Thank
And
you.
you can get a word mark. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Trying to get the whole word was cute.
Yeah. But then she went one step further
Yeah.
and she went and told these other authors that, and filed a lawsuit that those authors could not use the term. Otherwise, she was going to sue them. And maybe
Yeah.
she even did sue them. It's, again, I'm fuzzy on it. My memory doesn't go back that far. But thankfully, like, single titles can't be trademarked. And in her case, in the Cockygate, her lawsuit was lost, and she ultimately surrendered that trademark for the cocky and the font and all that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't think she
yeah.
understood her own IP and what she was doing anyways. Like, it's a very difficult thing to protect anyways. I wouldn't want to try to protect cocky in certain fonts. It's just a nightmare because
I would think.
you have to protect it to keep it, right? And
Mhm.
that means going after millions of indie authors.
Right. And who has that kind of money, you know? But thankfully, in this case, and in the previous case, the community, once again, they just really showed up. Like, I don't know about the Authors Guild. I haven't checked on that, but I know that author trade associations like SIBA, which is the Southern Independent Bookseller Alliance, they filed and lodged their own complaints against this current trademark claim.
That's good.
So that's awesome. And as a matter of fact, a friend of mine who's also a sports romance author out here in Seattle, about 10 years ago, prior to our professional NHL team becoming established here in the market, and they were looking to have define a name, create a name for their franchise. My author friend, she went and filed her trademark for her fictional hockey team because she didn't want, after this like 10, 12 book series with this brand, she didn't want to have to change her logos, change her brand if the new NHL team were to use that name. So she
That's
won that
correct.
case.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct. That's what
Yes.
trademark's for.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's what I know about the situation. This is ongoing right now with the blind date with the book. And, as an indie author, I was just kind of ruminating on it. And it's like, it's just yet another thing that is thrown at us on a daily basis. It's like, I'm not a tennis player, but, when you're practicing tennis and you have that ball, whatever it's called, launcher, I feel like it's just always a barrage of balls that are just thrown at us, and we're, have to duck and, rechange our position and course. And it's expensive and it's tiring. And this is just yet another example of it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, this one is
also
big booksellers will probably file complaints with the PTO over this one. I don't think it'll make it to the acceptance period. If it does, and it gets into that's why something I want to tell people, like, if it does get accepted and go into there will be a commentary period for about 30 days
Okay.
after it gets accepted. And there's a time in there where people can say this is a product description. This is a general product. It's like trying to trademark the word, toothpaste, like you said,
Yeah.
or trying to trademark the word book. Like, you can't, it's just a product type. You can't do that. But I doubt that it'll even get to the commentary period. But if it does, people should comment and say that it's been widely used.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
would be surprised. It just seems to me, if I were this company, I'd withdraw it because it does issue bad will, right? It's bad form.
Mhm.
Now that you know that the reader community is like, no, you can't do this, it could hurt them if they
Yeah.
continue to press forward, it seems to
Yeah.
me. And if we believe that they're going to lose, it's also an expensive way to learn a hard lesson, right?
Very expensive.
So it just
Absolutely.
seems to me at this point, you make up your own term and, bootylicious book surprise, whatever, right?
Oh, that's good. I'm writing that
I
down.
love
No, I'm
that.
taking that one.
And move on because the reader community, we were talking on a call earlier how the reader community can sometimes turn
Be vicious.
well, yeah, I had seen where they had gone after an author who had a story or something they felt was similar to one of the big ones now. And of course, I still didn't look it up. I still don't remember what it was. But the author they went after wrote their book before this one they're accusing her of copying.
Oh boy.
And so this poor person is having to defend themselves. And it can go badly that way when readers get organized. But, this company should recognize readers. They will protect authors. They will protect. And it just seems to me this would be a tough thing. Because I'm the type of person who would be like, fine, you won. I'm not buying from you. Not that I ever have. But you could change your mind, right? And all of a sudden you have bad will because you've done this mean thing.
Yeah. And I think her claim, and again, I read on Threads, oh my goodness, that her claim, the reason why she did it, because she was being questioned, was that she figured at some point someone else would do it. And then she would have to, change her business model. So she was trying to get ahead of the curve, was her logic behind it. But
her IP lawyer even allow that? Like, they must have told her this was stupid and spurious. My IP lawyer would have thrown a fit if I had done something like this.
Yeah. Well, there's no telling and who knows, maybe what they're trying to trademark is kind of obscure, right? Because you can't trademark fonts, you can trademark images, you can trademark.
Yeah.
And so just because you have the words in a certain way doesn't mean you own the words.
Right.
And of course, hers were titles for the most part, which we know can't even be copyrighted.
Yep.
So very, 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 very strange.
Fun times. Never a dull moment in
never a dull moment.
Romance world.
Sometimes I'm surprised how something such a solitary activity such as reading can create so much drama. But it does.
Drama's part of the community. I mean, we know that we talk about drama here on the podcast. Yeah. That's part of what holds people together, is talking about the crazy big bits.
Yeah. Like soap opera world. Yeah. And Threads is the place for it, right? Like that's where you go if you want drama.
Yep.
So we also have for the AI drama over Shy Girl. And I keep seeing things coming up back and forth about this thing. One of my issues had been the author is, going to take all this heat, but we know that publishers are using AI. Matter of fact, I just earlier on a call was talking about how they're feeding author manuscripts through some sort of AI to create summaries. They're using it from art. They're using all sorts of things. But Hachette isn't getting in trouble for, except for the fact, like, how did they not know?
Right.
I'm just curious what your thoughts are about this whole, AI is entering, AI written material is now entering the fray.
Big sigh. That's my thought. Big sigh, So I have, what might be controversial thoughts on it, because I personally, I don't want to use it. I don't want to be, held to that questionable action that, again, is being called out by readers who believe that, that book was written by AI. I mean, it's everywhere we look these days. And I have big feelings about it. But I guess what was interesting is I recently had dinner with some friends that are not in the book world. They have, I'll say, quote unquote, normal jobs, but they're not in the literary world. And we got onto the subject of AI use. And one of the individuals is in HR in an international startup, and the other one is a financial director in the finance sector. So both of them said they loved using AI. And I was a little shocked. I'm like, really? Wow. Well, how do you use it? What does it help you with? And they said, it helps simplify things. It speed up their work and output, especially in like recruiting and training and development and creating presentations. And so I thought, wow, okay, that's definitely a different way to look at it. It definitely can help. And then they joked, they said they have a 5-year-old daughter, and they said they joke that every night when they're putting her to bed, she wants a story, and she tells them what she wants to hear. So they can't just run to the bookshelf and find a book on exactly what they want. They type it into one of the AI generators, and they pull up a story then that has been generated by AI, and they read it to her. And this is where, of course, my face shuts down, right? I'm like, really? This is exactly the problem. And I hope that our discussion then spurred them to realize, oh, this is how it is affecting, creators in the literary world, because they're no longer then going to look for books. They're just typing it in and pulling up information and stories that have already been written, and they're just regurgitating and regenerating it in a different light.
Yeah.
So my feelings are, I think it can be helpful for various uses. However, as an indie author with a career spanning over 12 years, I also believe in human generated and authored created works. And I've steered clear personally of AO tools. I mean, yes, I use dictation, which is AI, and I use, Word, which has the autocorrect and everything, and that's, an AI source. But I want to write, I want to continue using my own words to plot, to craft, to write, to edit, to design. I want to use, human voices for narration. And I know I am going on a tangent now, but I recently had a meeting with some fellow authors, and they said that we were talking about the voice. I can't remember what Amazon's calling it, the voice narration thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called. Okay. But they said, that's the only way that they could do narration and to create audiobooks for their books. Is they can't afford going, they can't get a audiobook publisher to pick them up, and they can't afford to pay their own. So they said, this is the only way I can do it to help me sell my books and get visibility. So, I don't begrudge anyone who chooses to use the tools. That's their thing. That's okay. But I don't want to take away that human touch and the element that makes our books special. And I know I'm a dinosaur in this industry, but I don't want to become the dinosaur that goes extinct, if you know what I mean. Like if I rely on AI for all of my work, my creativity, my own personal creativity will dry up and shrivel and will go extinct. And I know I'm catastrophizing all the doom and gloom about what AI is going to bring, but that's my stance on it. There you go.
It's readers' choice if they're going to choose that,
I have a similar attitude in that, well, first of all, your head exploding isn't going to change anything. It is here, and people are going to use it. So, okay, now how do we adapt? And for us to adapt is partly competing with lots of books. But even that is sort of changing. And you did a crowdfunding, right? So, I mean, authors at least now have other abilities to get in front of readers, but it's harder now because there's more people and a lot of attention is going all over the place. But I also feel like I just don't want to have the energy to pick up a pitchfork and go after somebody.
Right? I know.
And I've seen the vitriol. To me is sort of shocking. I mean, if you don't like it, don't use it. If you don't like it, don't buy it. There's a lot of people who now anything wonky, they'll say AI.
Right.
Even if it was written 12 years ago, right?
Like, where did I get that from? Like,
I don't know. It's just the new sort of excuse.
Yeah.
But I just really feel like I've said before, I saw a post where somebody admitted to using AI for something, and somebody else said they wished pancreatic cancer on them and their children.
Oh my Lord. Oh my word. Oh my word.
Really? That's like, what? Why? Like, that's just worse. I would rather somebody use AI than put a curse on somebody and then when their children have cancer.
It's just
I don't know.
mean.
So I'm sort of like, I'm going to make my choices. You make your choices.
Right.
And somehow
just stay in your corners, be happy. Exactly. What's interesting is I just, I just submitted a book that was part of a anthology, a charity anthology, and the guidelines to submit your book were that no AI could be used. So we all agreed to this. Well, then what happened is one of the authors in the anthology did use AI for, I guess, apparently editing. I don't know the whole story, but there was a prompt left in the manuscript.
Oh my God.
Whoa, I know. And so the organizer of the anthology pulled it down, and the author said, apologize for this mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. It's okay. And they crafted the manuscript, resubmitted, and then they put the anthology back up for sale and purchase. But, it happens. And I
How
don't
was
know.
there a prompt left in when you use it for editing?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I've just decided it's here. There's nothing I can
Yeah.
do about it by
Right.
getting upset. We do the best we can to deal with it in terms of tender and
But-
tempting tales.
But what about the validity of these AI? Sorry, what are they called again?
LLMs.
LLMs.
That catch let's say, oh, this was written by AI.
You
Yeah.
mean the detectors?
Yeah,
Yes,
you can't-
yes,
you
yes.
can't trust
The-
those
It's an
either.
arms race, right? They are also LLMs, and
Yeah.
there are things that they can teach you about what looks like AI writing, but you can't use them as your detection. I've helped us detect, and so has Jenna. We have to do it with our eyes. The detectors can only help us so much, right? They can help
Yeah.
us pinpoint areas of the text that might be generated, maybe,
Okay.
but that
Huh.
doesn't mean that they are. And there are areas of the
Right.
text that they can't catch. They don't know that dialogue, especially like historical romance dialogue, they can't figure out that that's generated. Even if you go to one generator, have it generate it for you, and then put it into the detector, it won't catch
Yeah.
it because it's so
Right.
programmatic already.
Yeah,
You have to do it with
exactly.
your eyes.
Uh-huh.
You have to just kind of know what it looks like.
There is a detector that a lot of publishers are using, but they can't use that on their own. You just sort of have to, once you see it, once you start to
Yep.
know it, it pops out at you when you're reading. Like, yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that stands out is the really odd metaphors.
Yes.
They're wackadoodle.
Wacky.
They make no
Oh, okay.
sense.
Okay.
It
See,
sounds
I haven't
beautiful.
seen any
As
of
you're
that.
reading it, you're like, oh, that's lovely. And then you think, wait a minute.
In Shy
That's
Girl,
weird.
there's a part that talks about fanged gauze, and your brain just kind of goes, wait, what? The gauze is fanged? What?
Yeah.
Moments
Yeah.
like that, where it's like a lot of
Ah.
editors and teachers, because this is my space. I'm an editor and I've been a teacher of English. There's a lot of like conversation about what this looks like. The rule of threes, not this, but that. It's not really M dashes, although spaces around M dashes are kind of a tell because people don't tend to generate spaces around their M dashes if they're using Word or Google Docs. Although there are things like Grammarly will do that. Like there are certain things that will add them. So it's not the only
Okay.
tell. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's nonsensical writing is a big one. And a lot of like, if you going through it, it's the same stuff over and over and over again, like not this,
Okay.
but that, this, that, very jumpy, very, very jumpy
Oh,
text.
okay.
Sort of a
Huh.
staccato, but
Yeah.
at the same time, the other side of that is being careful because that could be somebody's style.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
right.
I'm terrified. I get terrified all the time. I feel like I've been really working hard to up my writing game with my own writing, but I start to get nervous, like somebody's going to accuse me of something here. I better use a dumber word, right?
Yeah. I always warn people, like, one of the reasons you might see staccato is not because someone's using AI, but because they're using dictation. And I know this from Jenna's writing. Sometimes it gets staccato because the program is putting in periods and pauses when she's not generating them, and so it gets staccato at times. And so when I'm editing, I'm always like, all right, let's fuse these together. But I know it comes from dictation, not from using AI. And this, you just have to know.
But that's where that's where strong editors come into play, right?
Exactly. Yes.
But
Yeah.
I
You've
also
got to have
like
that kind of brain.
Sometimes I like saying, having a phrase and then a word. Sometimes it's sort of my style, my voice. I kind of like it. Use it for oomph or whatever.
You're not the only romance
now I'm
author.
terrified I'm going to be accused. And so,
again, it's a never ending battle.
Always remember, AI is learning from us. It's learning from us, and because there's writers who write that way, and it's very popular. There's a lot of young writers who write with a lot of M dashes. There's a lot of young writers who write not this but that. There's a lot of young writers who write with nonsensical metaphors because they don't think through their symbolic language, and that's what it's training on. So you have to remember that, like, it looks like people.
I buried my head in the sand on this one. I'm like, I don't want to.
Most readers can't.
You'll be fine. And I think authors that have been around for a while will be okay, right? But
Yeah.
if you have become a writer in the last couple of years,
Yeah.
they're the ones that are going to be
Better
looked
be.
at sideways. And
A nightmare.
unfortunately, they, may or may not be using AI, but if they're not, it's tough.
I always
Yeah.
tell people that the solution is human. Write in a writing group, make sure that you have a paper trail, show that you're writing together with other people, that your writing is coming from you, and have multiple drafts of it, and make sure that like other people are seeing you write so that they can attest to the fact that you are a writer who writes with hands. And
Interesting.
like we're in a moment of like a lot of change. And so readers and publishers and everyone is just really, they're up in arms. And I would say that they're stimulated easily because of a moment of change. And I think it'll settle out. There's a lot of noise. AI generates a lot of noise in a lot of
Yeah.
in marketing everywhere. It's just noise.
Yeah. I hope that it does, because I don't want it to degrade what we're doing. This is our livelihood. We love this business. We love to write and tell stories. And I just don't want to see it, the enthusiasm of reading change because of it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
look
I
at
think
how
there'll
how
always
popular
be
in-person
readers.
events are. People want to meet authors in person and to do this stuff in person. They want to read
Mhm.
stories. Like that's where the strength is. And I think it'll be okay. Sorry, Jenna, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say there'll always be readers, and nothing is stopping you from writing.
Mm,
The hard part is selling in a crowded marketplace.
yeah. Finding your
But you're
readers.
established. People love you, Sierra.
Oh gosh, please.
They're buying your books.
One problem is a lot of AI writers are ghosts, right? They don't want to talk about their writing. They don't want to go to events. They don't want to sell in person and talk to people in person. Sometimes they even invent their author personas to such a degree that they can't go to events, and they can't talk about their writing because they don't know what the AI generated for them.
Yeah, well, I have that problem as a 50-plus woman. It's like, what did I write? I don't remember.
You wrote
I wrote
last week. You
or
wrote the most
yesterday,
recent book.
maybe.
Yeah.
You know your characters.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And you can talk about process. What's an AI writer going to talk about? You're like, well, I was really hard crafting the prompt. So, Sierra, in conversation recently, you let slip that you plan to coordinate and publish contemporary romance anthology for next St. Patty's Day, with about 12 to 15 authors in it. And we love anthologies. So I was wondering if you could tell us and our listeners all about it.
Oh yes, I've taken on another project which I swore to myself I would never do again. But this idea for this book, this story, took shape last fall when I went on a trip to Ireland, and I came up with the idea, and it doesn't fit into my sports romance genre that I typically write. And then under my Kassidy pen name, I've already written a book set in Ireland with Irish characters. So the more I thought about it, I realized, well, I could just write a short story and include it in an anthology at some point. But none seemed to pop up. I wasn't getting any invites, so I figured, well, why not do my own thing? So I have created and coordinated anthologies in the past, as well as several collab shared world series, and they went relatively smoothly. So I figured, well, let's go ahead and, try another one. And so this upcoming anthology will be released on St. Patrick's Day 2027, and each story will center around being lucky in love. And so I'm leaving it up to the authors on what they want to write, their characters. It can be part of a series that if they want. It just has to have a happy ever after, or happy after, or happy for now. And
you're invited to submit to our anthologies, right?
Yeah.
You are invited. Yes.
I try to find the time. I look at my calendar going, oh my gosh. And one of the toughest part of running an anthology, as you know, Jenna, is I close the interest application form, and I'm only looking for 12 to 15 authors, and there are 54 interested authors.
Woof.
So I'm very excited. And in the next few weeks, I have to narrow that down. And that is the most difficult part.
Can I confess something?
Yes.
I feel like maybe I filled out your form.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
So now it's widely known. and guess what? I first off, I was honored that you would submit your interest. And then I thought, where is Jenna going to find the time
I don't
To
know.
add this in, you are the busiest woman. You have to be the busiest author that I know. Like, honest
Oh,
to
really?
God,
Well,
you
thank
do so
you.
much,
There was something about it where I thought, well, that might be fun.
right?
And
I
maybe
mean,
it
it's
was the
very
Irish
specific.
thing, or yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know what it was. But yeah, I feel like I filled out the form. As a matter of fact, I went looking through my email earlier, like, did I hear back? And
No,
because
I haven't. I've,
and then I
yep.
thought, well, I'm not going to say anything because maybe she didn't pick me, and I don't want to have her tell
No,
me.
I
Just
And
have
putting pressure on
not.
Sierra here.
I know.
if you don't, it will be fine. I get it.
No, no, you
54
Well,
heard it here,
hours.
readers. If Sierra doesn't pick Jenna,
yeah,
it doesn't mean she doesn't like her anymore, and there's going to be
she's
all
an
this
awful
drama,
person. Oh
this beef.
no.
So
No, and
it's all good. It's all
yeah,
good.
but
Whatever
it
you
is really
decide.
hard. And Jenna,
Yeah.
as you know, it's hard to select authors because there's so many variables. You want a wide range of voices, but you also want people who are reliable, that they're good writers, strong writers, they have a commitment to the craft, and they are going to be accountable to their time and what they have said they're going to do.
Yeah.
And by looking at an interest form, unless I know them, like, someone like yourself,
Yeah.
it's really hard to say, well, is this person, I want to give this person an opportunity. Maybe they only have a couple books out. I want to give them an opportunity to be part of this. But on the other hand,
Yeah.
I
No,
want
we
so.
You don't want to
definitely
wait.
get it. I mean, we do take submissions in advance, so now we vet them up front, right? So we don't
Yeah.
have to, so we have that. But we do, there's still, particularly if they're a new author, which we totally want to support, there's a
Hmm.
lot of extra work poor Tara has to do.
Oh, Tara's on the hook. Oh.
I do the vetting. Yeah, I do the vetting because we didn't vet one time and I said never again.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
right. I've been there. And then
Yeah.
I've had to say, all right, well, we're down one author then in the book. I mean, that's just the way it
Yeah,
goes.
we had to do
It's,
that. Matter of
yep.
fact, we pulled one at the end because we did all of a sudden think, you know what? I don't think they wrote this.
Oh, going
And
back to the
yeah, so
Yeah.
we did end up pulling one,
We
but yeah,
changed our
well, that's
policy.
exciting. I love, I went to Scotland a couple of years ago, which is in
uh-huh.
Ireland, but just that whole area, Scotland, Ireland, it's just so beautiful. And they've got depending on where you are, they're speaking Gaelic or Gaelic, and
Yeah, whatever you
you
call
know,
it.
yeah.
And this is
Yep.
it's a contemporary romance anthology, right? So people know what to look for.
It is. Yep. So it
Yeah.
won't be romantasy, it won't be fantasy, it won't be, it'll be a wide range of tropes, of course, but the main consistent topic will be being lucky in
Lucky.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have
So
an
I'm
do you have a
excited.
title yet? Do you have a
Nope.
title yet?
Nope.
Can I
Well, if I
suggest
do,
one?
I'm not going to share it.
Oh no, I was going to suggest one actually.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I've been lobbying to maybe do some
Uh-oh.
kind of St. Patty's Day zine for us, but I just don't think it's ever going to work out. I think it would be weird. But the title I had in mind for it was Shamrocks and Shenanigans, if you
Oh,
want it.
cute.
Isn't it cute? I just like the title, really, is what it comes down to.
Shamrocks and shenanigans.
Yeah.
I love
Maybe
it.
you should do something with Lucky or Lucky in Love or something like that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking that. I just what I don't know is if I will require. Sometimes I like to do this. I require that they have a certain word in their title.
Yeah.
So in a previous collab that I coordinated and ran called the All American Boy,
Mhm.
they had to have the word boy in the title.
Oh.
And so they could do whatever like bad boy or mama's boy or
Yeah.
boy on a train, whatever. I don't know, but they had to have that in so that there was that continuity and the similarity that that we knew. Oh yeah, this was part of this series. But
Yeah.
anyway, we'll see.
I love
That's
that.
the fun thing about anthologies, though. I mean, one of the challenges you have, and I don't know, maybe you have an answer to this, Sierra, is in my mind, romance readers are avid. They want lots of stories. What a fun way to have an anthology where you got lots of quickie little reads from all these different authors who have different voice, different style, different stories, different tropes. But what we're sort of discovering is for a lot of people, they haven't really tried them out yet.
Yeah.
So, trying to encourage people, this is a fun way to discover new authors. It's a fun
Uh-huh.
way to read when you just have 10 minutes because you're waiting for your kid to, get done with soccer or whatever.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often hear from people like, oh, I've never read sci-fi romance before, and they wouldn't pick up a novel in it because it's just too much of a commitment. But they'll find me in one of the anthologies and be like, oh, that's what sci-fi romance is. And they realize that
Ah.
it's not all tentacle aliens and that actually it's okay and that it's going to be all right. Like some of it is tentacle. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, the same thing with like, I read, I wouldn't normally pick up an enemies to lovers contemporary romance story, but I
Mhm.
read Jason Wrench's in our anthology, the first one, Moonlight Margaritas, and I actually liked it. I actually liked it. It was an enemies to lovers romance. I was like, oh, I do like this. This can be okay.
Ah,
So
Yeah.
it's a good way of like trying something out without committing 50,000 words of reading, or
that's
more,
true. Yep.
So that's kind of nice.
And you get a little taste. It's like a
Mhm.
smorgasbord of authors and
Yeah, you're getting a
styles
taste of
and
romantasy. If you're not sure if you're gonna like
mhm.
romantasy, maybe do 7,000 words of it. Just read it and be like,
Yeah.
oh, actually, that was fine.
Yeah. And the fact that it's usually around a theme or something helps. So you can say,
Hmm.
well, I do like stories
Mhm.
around the Irish luck or something,
I
right?
do
Yeah.
like
Like, or I
margaritas.
do like stories, summer beach stories, or I do whatever it is.
Hmm.
They can have something that they feel they know they're going to like, and yet still a variety in terms of the story itself and the author. And
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
did. I coordinated an anthology in December of 2021. God, that seems so long ago. And it was called Scoring Over the Holidays, and it was specific to sports romance, but it didn't need to be a particular sport. So there was hockey, there was baseball, there was football, there was everything. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that anthology went really, really well. And I look back at it now going, oh yeah, I can do this again. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So let's try it again. Well, you also have you write hockey,
I do.
which is very big now. Let's see, the third
Ah,
book in your Vancouver Vikings hockey series is coming out in October. Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So maybe tell us about, because hockey romance is big now. So you can tell us
It
about that.
is. I don't know where it really, I don't know who did it. Maybe it was Helena Hunting or Megan Quinn. Does she write hockey? I don't know. Or, yeah, anyway, but hockey is big. And fun fact, I just attended my first PWHL game at Climate Pledge Arena last night. The
Fun.
I know the Seattle Torrent, our women's team, won against the Minnesota Frost. It was a lot of fun. And I really love seeing women's professional sports getting so much love. So now I'm a big fan there. I'm also a big Seattle Kraken fan, and I've attended many games over the past 6 years. I've been able to attend practices. I meet up with my editor who actually lives here in Seattle. We meet up for practices, and she helps me kind of plot out my books and talk about the characters and everything.
Oh my God, that's
Um,
amazing.
I know, isn't it fun?
That's great.
And she's a huge hockey fan, like huge hockey, and her daughter plays hockey, and it's great. Anyway, so with that, I wanted to include the sport of hockey in my sports romance portfolio, because I have written. I had to look at my backlist Bible, but to date, I've written 26 sports romances.
Ooh.
Wow.
And I know, and they include college and professional basketball. They include college and professional hockey, college football, snowboarding, golf, and baseball. So
Ooh.
wide variety of sports and different athletes. But the thing about my books is that they can all be read standalone, but are interconnected series that also have character crossover from the other sports series. So
Mhm.
I wrap my characters into the other series. So even if it was college basketball, that wraps into my professional basketball, and my professional basketball, there's characters that wrap into my Vancouver Vikings hockey. So it's a lot of fun for me, but I have to go back and reread what I've written about the previous characters, make sure I'm still on track. And then my stories all involve real life like situations and relatable characters. Like I've written about tragedy and loss, sexual assault, depression, anxiety, suicide ideation, dysfunctional families, accidental pregnancies, and a plethora of other topics. But I want my books, and they all are happily ever after, but I want my characters to be relatable to readers. And the feedback that I get in reviews is that they are. So with that, I'm currently writing the fourth book and the final book in the Vancouver Vikings hockey series, Off the Post. And so this series has ties with my Puget Sound Pilots basketball series. By the way, Jenna, great job on pronouncing Puget, because so many people do not know how to pronounce that word.
Really?
What else do they say?
Puget.
Puget? Puget.
Puget. Yeah. Anyways, Puget Sound, and that's local. Puget Sound is a Seattle Sound. Anyways, that in that series, there was the female owner, Kara Spurlock, and she was the co-owner of both hockey and basketball franchises. So again, different series, but I weaved her into the first book in book one of the Vikings, which is Offside, and then yeah, they will show up throughout the course. So getting back to your question about my Off the Post book, it features the grumpy, sullen, grief-stricken German-speaking Vikings goalie Soren the Wolf Wolfenspiel. Right? So
I love it.
So he's this big, or well, as big as they are, goalie. And so he's shown up in the previous three books. One is my recent novella, which was in the charity anthology, and that one's called Off the Bench. So anyway, Soren usually returns home to his home in Austria each summer to spend time with his dead brother's family. And so he feels a lot of responsibility for them, and he misses his older brother terribly, who died from a tragic accident. So there's a lot of trauma in the Wolf's backstory. But this summer he doesn't go back, and because he promised his teammate Tanner, who's also shown up in the several books prior, that he would participate in his charity calendar shoot. You know where this is going.
Yeah.
And the charity golf tournament to raise money for his charity called Lamp the Light for Kids. So that's where in comes the female main character, Allie St. Francis. She's the new communications and events manager for this charity. And then, of course, sparks fly the moment they meet. There's this chemistry, and she's the sunshine. He's grumpy, but he's still, so of course, things are flying, except, there's a few obstacles. One is that Allie is Soren the Wolf's teammate's off-limits sister. And Allie believes that Soren is married.
Ooh.
So there's some miscommunication, there's some confusion that starts it off, and then it's a really slow burn, grumpy sunshine, teammate's little sister trauma comfort story. And that all comes out October 8th.
Awesome. Fun. Soren is one of my favorite Scandinavian first names, actually.
Yeah.
I love that name.
And I have the perfect cover for it. This like sandy blonde dude with he's yummy.
I've been thinking about sports romance a lot lately, because we end up talking about heated rivalry a lot, and we end up talking because a lot of our authors are either in their hockey era, or they have just written a lot of like sports romance, and we're thinking about doing a sports romance zine and anthology next year. And I just wondering if you could talk to us and to our readers about what you think. And it's okay if you don't have this on top of mind and you don't want to answer it, but what you think the tropes of like sports romance, particularly hockey romance, are.
Okay, so the question is what I think about the tropes.
What you think they are? Yeah, like what do you think? What are the things you run into a lot?
Well, a lot of found family for one, because the athletes all are within these teams and groups of individuals, and mostly men, obviously, and so there's just these strong connections with their teammates, so it's a lot of fun. I love to have a lot of team banter in my books, and so that there's that, because there can be some humor and lighthearted, like pranks, a lot of pranks. So
a little bit of a rom-com vibe.
So even though I deal with some serious heavy topics, I always the books are still light and lighthearted and fun, and and then I see a lot of, and I just wrote one. I don't write a lot, but a single mother and secret babies. Secret babies are big, because I know some people cringe at secret baby, and I did too. I really did. But this book, the second book in the series, Off the Stick, it just required that trope. and it worked out. So, but
Yeah.
I struggled. It took me a year to finish that book because it
Yeah.
wasn't normally a trope that I wrote. And of course, the teammate's little sister. Yeah. It's always the off limits. Don't touch my sister.
Right.
The alpha men.
Yeah.
What else? I mean,
I mean,
I
rivals to lovers seems to be big, of course.
rivals to lovers.
Right.
Yeah,
Or even
yeah.
enemies to
And
lovers.
yeah. I don't write a lot of that. I don't know why. I guess I don't write angsty.
Hmm.
I just don't. I can't. I don't have a lot of angst.
Yeah.
But
It's more common in LGBTQ if you have like two guys on a team and then
yeah.
or like maybe friends to
Yeah,
lovers,
for
like teammates
sure,
to
for
lovers kind
sure.
of thing.
Yeah. Secret hidden romances, that's always big. But I too, I think with sports romance, I don't know. So I've written basketball, right? Basketball romance is not big, yet
Oh no.
hockey is.
Oh.
Oh gosh, no.
Mm.
I have I have struggled to sell my college basketball romance, even though I love it. I love the sport, but it's just not big. But hockey is, and
Funny you say that because I think, football and hockey tend to have bigger,
mhm,
beefier men, right?
yes,
And
yeah,
my guess would be that would be it versus basketball. Because I also think soccer, when people talk about, I was like, soccer and basketball is similar. These guys are running for 45 minutes straight. These
they have
guys
endurance,
have
man.
they have endurance like nobody else, but they
Uh-huh.
tend to be not, bulky, but they don't look
Have
like
you
the
ever
big.
seen Christian Ronaldo? Is that his name? Woo!
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My husband watches a lot of soccer, so I see these
Uh-huh.
guys and they are fit like beyond
Yeah, they
belief.
are.
And I just think they would make great love interests.
I think so too. I
But
think
Because of
all
because of
athletes, as a matter of
stamina.
fact, yeah.
exactly for that reason. And I think basketball's the same way. They're running back and forth the whole time
Mhm.
compared to other sports where, football, they run, they stop, they
Yep.
set, there's a commercial, they're, whatever.
Hmm.
Hockey, they're going pretty good most of the time.
Hmm.
But they also tend to, in my mind, tend to be, maybe it's because of all
Yeah.
the pads and everything,
Yeah.
they tend to
And
be.
you know what? The other thing is, yeah, in football and hockey, they are covered with gear head to toe. So you don't even like get to
See
see
them.
what they look like, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
appearance is a big thing, right? It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And with basketball and soccer, you see them. They're, full on
Yeah.
right there. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if it's maybe the intrigue of, the mysterious, appearance underneath that draws the read. I don't
Because they're
know. I
contact
really,
sports.
Yeah. The other thing that
yeah.
I don't see a lot in hockey romance is the number of teeth that go missing.
Oh
Hockey
yeah.
mine,
players
mine
lose a
has a
lot.
missing tooth. Mine
Oh,
has
good.
a missing
Perfect.
tooth.
Which I can't, someone with a missing tooth, that just changes things, right? There's just something about it that just is like, that's not right, right? I mean, hockey has a lot of missing teeth. And so
Yep.
I'm always laughing when I'm reading these and I'm like, but they have all their teeth. Like,
So one of our local players for the Kraken, his name is, why can't I think of his name? Jamie Oleksiak. And he did a commercial for Alaska. I think it was Alaska Airlines, or maybe it was a local credit card company. I don't know. But and the whole time he has his missing tooth out. So he has this, spot in his tooth, and he just
yeah,
grins super big, and it's the funniest commercial. He's funny.
yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, there you
So.
go. Yeah, missing teeth are important. So read the first. You can read the first first pages of my book, Off the Stick, and that whole scene is a locker scene, and they're talking about hockey butts and missing teeth. There you go.
That's a good chapter name, Hockey Butts and Missing Teeth.
Hockey butts and missing
Oh,
teeth.
that's funny.
Oh, I love that.
So
Okay,
funny.
to my real question.
Okay.
Also, you had heard that you were hoping to pitch a new domestic thriller that you've been thinking about for a good decade and a half. And we love us some
Mhm.
thrillers around here, so we were hoping you could tell us a bit about it.
Yeah. So the story has been floating around in my head for like 15 years or more, since well before I even started writing. And it's yet to be titled, but it's a gripping, emotional family drama, murder suspense, and a sweeping domestic thriller that delves into kind of the sins of the parents and the truth that is slowly uncovered through the lies that are told over the course of 30 years. So it centers on the Crow family, who are owners of a small winery. I haven't yet figured out where I'm going to place this, where the setting is, but they're a small winery, family owned, for generations, who find their unity tested when a decades-old betrayal resurfaces. And as their ailing patriarch is given months to live, and his wife of 50 plus years is troubled with dementia, hidden truths threaten to fracture both their cherished legacy and their bonds with one another. That's my pitch.
I was gonna say, that sounds like a pitch.
It is.
Excellent.
So the story is told in both past and present, first person POV, through all of the characters, but mainly the 20-year-old granddaughter, Haven, and through her conversations with Marianne, who is in a memory care center. So she is going to be starting to let loose some of these lies and betrayals and hidden realizations. And Haven is going to start investigating and find out what really happened in this family. And I'm so excited because I literally just started building the story timeline and the character descriptions this week. And I wrote a few paragraphs of the prologue, which is from the dead victim's point of view.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I know.
That's
I
great.
know. So it's going to be a huge challenge for me because all my 50 books are romance, and so this is, it's still, there's a romantic element in it.
Yeah.
But it's a domestic thriller. It's all about this family and a murder, and yeah.
Is it going to be part of the Sierra-verse? Are there any of your characters going to pop up at all?
No, this one is, and that's a really good question about how I'm going to pitch it. Like, is it going to be written under my Sierra Hill, or is it am I going to put it under my my real name? I don't know.
Yeah, a new pen name. A
new pen name. Oh my gosh, two pen names are hard enough. But I hope my hope is that so in the next couple months I can have enough of the story ready to go, and the pitch, and the summary, and then I can have my agent pitch it to a trad publisher. So maybe someday.
I love it.
Yeah, nothing like a good thriller. Okay, so let's talk about heated rivalry, hockey. We're back to hockey again.
Can't help ourselves.
And just, have you seen it, and what are your thoughts about it?
Oh, yes. I have seen it. And I'm really proud of Rachel Reed and what she's done for the indie author community. And the gay romance community. She's given so much exposure to our books. But here's my funny story about the show. So it came out last November, Thanksgiving weekend. And I was down in Phoenix visiting my family. So staying at my 88-year-old aunt's house. And it was after dinner, and everybody else was gone except all the females of my family, and my 23-year-old niece and I wanted to watch it. And it's like an open kitchen living room situation. So turn it on. I log into my streaming app on my aunt's TV, and we begin watching it. And all my other family members are sitting in the kitchen playing cards. And 10 minutes in, I don't even know if it was 10 minutes or not. And we all know it gets hot and steamy, and I hadn't expected that at all. And we have the TV up fairly loud. So all of a sudden it's dead quiet, and I turn around in my chair, and behind me in the kitchen everyone is silent. They've stopped playing cards, and their eyes are glued onto the TV. And oh my God, it was the funniest thing because my 88-year-old aunt and her twin sister, my mom and my aunt, they were just saucer-eyed, just like, what? So yeah, needless to say, the rest of the weekend, I watched the remainder of the available shows on my laptop with my headphones on.
Oh no, you didn't all watch it all together?
No, they were too flustered.
Oh, that's so funny.
I was like, what are you watching?
Yeah.
Now my 80-year-old mother watched all of it.
Yeah, my 80-year-old mother watched it. The whole thing through. Yep.
But she reads a lot of romance too.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't.
Oh, I thought she
No,
did. Oh,
she
okay.
reads, she likes mystery, particularly British mystery. She watched a lot of Brit,
Mm.
but she watched that. She watched Red, White, and Royal Blue. She watched Bridgerton. She watches all, but
Oh,
she won't read it. Like
okay.
when
Yeah.
my books, she'll read up to the spicy bit and then
Okay.
off
Flip.
she goes, skips it.
That's a
Yeah,
blessing.
but she will watch those. It's a very bizarre thing.
My mom and aunt got the first anthology I was in, and they like took a picture of them having it together, and I was like, please don't read that.
Yeah. I just met when we went to the game last night. We were in a suite. My husband is in banking, and it was one of his clients. And so one of the wives came up to me and she's like, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" I'm like, "Oh, I write romance books." And it's widely known. My husband always tells his clients, that I'm a romance author, but I always have to preface by saying they are very steamy.
That's
Be
right.
prepared because this, woman was so excited about reading my books. I'm like, just be prepared. They're steamy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, at this point in the show, we like to say what we are reading and what we recommend for people. Start with our guest host. Sierra,
Sierra.
what are you reading?
Well, I am 65% into the audiobook of We All Live Here by Jojo Moyes. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Was it Me Before You? I absolutely love her writing style and the emotional content that she delivers with such humor, as well as, peppering in with family drama that she weaves in her books. Absolutely love them. So that's my recommendation.
Excellent. Jenna?
I'm still listening and reading at the same time. The other Bennett sister, getting
Nice.
ready to, the show comes to America. And, really, I enjoy it. I think it's going to be a good show. I have been hearing good things about it. But the book
Who's
is
the author? The other Bennett sister?
Janice, Janice Hadlow. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, you do get the essence. I really feel like I'm there. The writing isn't as difficult as going and reading Jane Austen, but it's
Mm.
definitely there. You hear it. There is sort of that distant point of view a lot of times that you would get in an Austen novel.
Mm.
Sort of everybody knows what everybody's thinking. Well, they don't know what
Founded.
everybody's thinking, but we're told what everybody's
Yeah.
thinking. What I find, because Austen, we talked about this being related to romance or whatever. And of course, I'm like, it's technically not. None of them technically are, but, Mr. Darcy, whatever. But I'm like, I must be halfway through this book now, and we still have not met the men,
What?
the
It's
men
breaking the
who will
rules.
be the love interest. Yeah.
Would you say that this
Wow.
book is not romance?
So definitely not, because in Pride and all the other ones, the couple is on page together early, right? But here we haven't. This is just Mary's story and her experience going through Pride and Prejudice. I am now past that. We are past Pride and Prejudice, and her trying to figure out her life and all that kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
I mean, I am enjoying it. Some of the wit that Austen has isn't there, but there are some moments that I do give a little giggle. So
So I have to admit, as a romance author, I have never read a Jane Austen book.
No?
Never. Nope.
Oh.
Nope. I know. I
you're not
know.
the
It's like,
first.
oh,
I'm not horrified. I'm just sad. I think that they're really enjoyable.
A
yeah,
lot of people have it, and
Yeah.
it can be a challenge to read.
They are very
yeah,
challenging, yeah.
It
I gave
yeah.
my
isn't,
sister Emma, and she was like, "What is this, Tara? What are you doing in here?"
yeah. You
It's
have
more
to read
challenging
it
than you realize
slower.
as an English major. It is very difficult to read. I remember my first one
Yeah.
actually being like, "Oh wow, this is very different." I mean, I was 19 at the time, but I do remember it
Mm,
being difficult to get that. But once you
hmm.
get it, once you get used to it, it
Yeah,
becomes very easy. But there's a learning curve basically, or like a
yeah,
reading curve. You just sort of have to get into her
yeah,
into her flow, the way that she writes. And it's an older flow. It's not the way that we write nowadays.
yeah.
She has a wit about her that you can miss if you are reading too quickly.
Yeah.
You sort of have to take your time. I mean, just
Mm.
the first line in and of itself says everything in Pride
Yes.
and Prejudice, right? About it's a truth universally acknowledged. Basically a guy with money must want a wife, right?
Yep.
Um,
There's
I
also
do want to
witticisms
get
in Austen that you understand better if you understand the era better. So I think it's difficult. Like speaking of like the other Bennett sister, it's difficult to be witty about an era you don't live in, right? It's just
Yeah.
hard to deliver those witticisms and harder for readers to connect with them because of the context being missing.
I do want to share something. I watched a documentary on Jane Austen that was on BritBox, and I really enjoyed it. It was 3 episodes. I learned stuff about her I did not know. Like she had a cousin whose husband was guillotined,
Yeah.
Ooh,
and this cousin ended up marrying her brother, and they're the ones that helped her. Anyway,
cousin, brother. Okay.
yeah.
In the
You
correspondence,
you
they talk
did
a lot
that.
about France during the
You did
1790s.
that back then. But here's this is a hot take. Could be a peeve. I don't know. Tara, you will get it. In each time they're talking about the books, which was really interesting. I even learned more about her writing the books. But when they got to each book, they show clips from some adaptation. Okay.
Oh
So
no.
you know where this is going.
Oh no.
So they get to Persuasion, my all-time favorite book of hers, second chance romance. Whitworth's love letter in there. Just, you pierce my, anyway.
The OG second chance.
Yeah, it's just fabulous, fabulous. Anyways, they show, where I'm going with this. They show that Netflix Dakota Johnson version of Persuasion, and my head about exploded.
Oh,
I mean,
from the
I
handbook
think
of
I
ways to piss
yelled
off
out
Jenna Harte.
loud, like, sake, are you kidding me? I yelled it at the TV. My husband's like, are you all right over there? I was so mad. And the reason I'm mad about it is because somebody could see this and think, oh, I'll go watch that. And they are not watching Persuasion, right? Like the story is there, but she is not Anne, right? Like Anne doesn't drink wine out of the bottle and get lit,
Ooh.
right? So
They should have used the 2008 BBC Persuasion, which is easily accessed and good. You don't think that one's good?
Creative license is
my favorite is the 1996. That's my favorite. But
at least the 2008 one is competent. Like if you're looking for something easy that's like digitized and like looks good, that one is there for you.
Yeah. Now the clips they used were fine, but I just thought somebody's going to see it, they're going to watch it, they're going to think, and that's not it, So that's why
they were probably just using the easiest one to grab. If I'm speaking from
who knows? Anyway,
laziness.
What are your recommendations?
I must do a shout out this week for the things that I have been looking forward to most on my email. I read a lot of romance on Substack, it turns out, and I've been reading Shadow Betrayal. That's Ava Leclerc, and I have been reading Ernest Semper's Kassidy Engagement Party, which is a novella, but it's feeling very novel-like to me. I mean, that's been great. That's a Dardanic Fennec mystery, not really a love story so much, but it does have her love interest there, and that's lovely.
I don't even know what you just said. Dardanic what?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Erna Semper, one of our authors, she has this long series of short stories, novellas, and novels about this investigator named Dardana Fennec. And she's amazing. She's like an escaped clone, and she's just fantastic. It's in a sci-fi world that feels kind of like fantasy at times, and a bit like an alternative history at times. And of course, it's science fiction as well because it's in the future and it's on another planet. It's just wonderful. But she's the main character of this novella called The Kassidy Engagement Party, and Erna has been releasing a chapter of that every week. And also, because I'm a bad influence, also Lion in the Garden, which is the new novel that Erna has been working on, which is a sci-fi love story about Rados the Lambda, who is this gigantic blue cloned man. And I have a t-shirt that I was sent, the only t-shirt in existence with Rados on it, so I can wear it at StratCon and advertise for Rados, my favorite large blue man.
He almost looks like something that should be on Ice Planet Barbarians.
Yes.
Except he doesn't have horns or anything.
All I'm
sort of
thinking in my head is the Blue Man Group.
No, big, luscious, muscly blue man. And if Lion in the Garden doesn't become as big as Ice Planet Barbarians, there is no justice in the world. I would say that.
So you said you're reading it on Substack?
Yeah, it's on Substack. Yeah.
So do the authors, when they're posting things, do they get paid for that?
It depends on the author. So Parrish, who's Erna Semper, releases all of the chapters for free to subscribers, except the spicy chapters, which you have to be a paid subscriber to get the spicy chapters, which is brilliant, by the way. I think that's amazing. And then Ava Leclerc publishes under a different model, which is that it's only to subscribers after the fourth chapter, but you get the chapters early if you're a paid subscriber, and then you get them a week later if you are a non-paid subscriber. So there's like all these locked chapters if you're not paying,
Okay.
that you look at
Okay.
salivatingly, hoping like that they will.
Do they then, when they finish with the book, then do they publish it
So
elsewhere?
what Parrish does is pull all the chapters down and then edits and then publishes the full book. So I actually have
Okay.
Crucible was published this way, but I wasn't on Ernest Semper Substack at the time. So all of those were pulled down, edited aggressively, and then with the spicy bit, and then put up on Amazon KDP. So I have the
Got
full
it.
paperback of that, for instance.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a
Got
really
it.
good model because Parrish talks
Yeah.
about keeping him accountable and making sure that he was, developing knowing that there were readers out there wanting these chapters. So it's a really good
Hmm.
accountability tool. It's a really kind of beta reading tool because you get comments from people and stuff like that.
Okay.
And rebuilding a readership and then being able to tell them
Yeah.
other things you're working on and, building up
Okay.
that way. It's interesting. It's an interesting way
Cool.
of
Yeah.
going about it.
I don't think I could do that. The pressure would be too strong, I think.
Yeah, it depends on the kind of writer you are, I think. Like I use
Yeah.
Substack differently. I use it more to like I take part in writing challenges and prompts and stuff like that. And like
Okay.
put up bits of writing and then I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm in this anthology or I have this serializing novel over here that you can go read. But I have that on a different site, not on Substack, because I don't have as much control over Substack as I have over the other thing. It just
There's
depends, but
definitely
it
a
is useful.
pressure if you have said, I'm going to publish 4 chapters a week or whatever,
Yeah.
Right.
the pressure to do it. And if you get behind,
Like poor
that's,
Ava.
yeah. But under the model of people who pay get it early, you definitely have to meet that. Now, if you have no paid people and you miss it, okay, as long
Yeah.
as it's there for the other subscribers, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And Substack has a thing where you can release it. You can tell it, take away the paywall a week, and you give it a date when the paywall goes away. An app like Ream Stories, which is like Patreon for authors, I have to go in. So it's like, this is for tier 1 people, but then if it ever goes out to just subscribers, I have to go in and say, here's for followers as well, or whatever. So that one's a little bit different. I wonder if they'll
How is
add
Ream
that.
doing? You getting discoverability on Ream?
Not yet,
Not yet.
but
Okay.
but I haven't done everything I can do yet there.
Mhm.
So, I mean, some of this is setting up your systems, right?
Yeah.
In terms of writing and marketing and all this kind of stuff. Systems are very helpful, but getting them set up can take forever.
Yeah.
Sierra, have you used any of these services? Wattpad, Ream, Dream, any of these things for any?
I did Wattpad. I used Wattpad way back in the day, and then decided that wasn't for me because I'm not a chapter. I mean, I don't know. I just felt uncomfortable about it. I'm like, I have to have everything edited and ready. I don't want people reading my work before it's edited.
Mm.
And then I think I heard about Ream from Jenna. Jenna, you always know all the tools, all the tools. And I think I got on there and then I'm like, well, I don't have time. It's always like, I'll do this later. Exactly. I'll read about this later.
Yeah.
I'll procrastinate, and because I can only focus on, like, what I'm finding is one thing at a time. So either I'm writing my hockey book or I'm plotting out my thriller. I can't do them simultaneously or concurrently, whatever. But yeah, so I really don't use except Kickstarter. I did Kickstarter, but that took me a full 6 months and I couldn't do anything else. So
yeah,
because you did it right. We've had a lot of drama we talked about on Kickstarters who take the money and run. One author made like $95,000.
How can they get away with that?
2 years later, still hadn't delivered. Yeah.
Wow.
Can't remember their name.
Yeah.
My mind is going. Yeah. A lot of booktube on that.
Services, a lot of fly-by-night services out there. It's getting scammy out there. Actually, I was interested in the Dream app, because it's a romance app, and I had my sister investigate it. My poor sister. She put it on her phone and just wanted to tell me what the experience was like for readers and how well you can discover new writers and stuff like that. The worst thing about it, and I wrote about this in a completely buck wild article actually from my blog, was that it was pushing spicy bits to her notifications on her lock screen. So it's like like, like a mid scene on her lock screen, stuff
Wow.
about, oh,
Yep.
my daddy's best friend, he owns me now, and things like, oh my God, it was crazy.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely
Yeah.
crazy. Just imagine that
Yeah.
on your lock screen, just sort of like,
Yeah.
hurt me
Your
again,
your
daddy.
10-year-old, yeah, your 10-year-old's like, what's this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she has a 5-year-old too. But I mean, he couldn't
Uh,
read it at the time, but it was insane. So we did discover that Dream was not the app for
wow.
us.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Well, Sierra, I want
yeah.
to thank you so much for spending all this time with us and sharing your books and sharing hot takes with us. Nuts, I
Hope you had
think
a good time.
sometimes.
I did have a good time. It's talking to friends. I like that.
Yeah.
That's enjoyable.
And it's nice, a lot of times in what we do, we don't find a lot of people. Sometimes we can talk about all the stuff we want to talk about, right?
Mhm.
Especially in romance. So thank you so much for being with us
Yeah,
today.
thank you for the invite, and
Yeah.
I hope to I hope to hear more of your podcasts in the future.
Yeah.
Awesome. We are Tender Tempting Tales on Instagram. You should go check us out. We've always got articles going up every week up on Substack about romance, written by me, Jenna, guest authors. And we have news about our anthologies and zines. If you're a romance author, we have a zine call right now. We will have an anthology call in May for Starlit and Spellbound. If you are a romance author, that's an otherworldly story of 10,000 words or less. It's got to have some kind of otherworldly element to it. It doesn't have to be paranormal, doesn't have to be romantasy, but just kind of, time travel, nanites, whatever sounds otherworldly to you. That's going to be opening up from May 1st to May 31st. Our zine call for Fantastical Foes ends probably the week that this podcast goes up. So it's going to end on April 30th. So get those puppies in. And as always, Jenna.
Sarah, thank you so much for being here. And until next time, peace, love, and happily ever after.